Okay, this is our daily study of Pirkei Avot, the Mishnah Ethics of the Fathers. For those who have your site for tonight, the 15th of Tammuz, Frank Agron, Seymour Asher, Merrill Bernstein, Simon Bernstein, Dora Blackman, Anna Cohen, May Feld, Annette Greenberg, Rose London, Bertha Rogovian, Riva Spitkowski, and Vishia Schwartz. May their memory be for a blessing. A link to the text of the Mishnah will be in the first comment below. We are up to chapter 4, Mishnah 18. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Al taratzas chaverach b'shas kaso, v'al tanachamenu b'shas shemesa mutulafano, v'al tishalo b'shas nidro, v'al tishtadi l'roso b'shas kalkalaso. Okay, so Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar said, do not appease your friend at the hour of his anger. Don't console him while his dead lies before him. Don't question him at the time of his vow, and don't strive to see him in the hour of his disgrace. Okay, so let's analyze all of these. There's a time for everything, as Ecclesiastes said in the song made famous by the Byrds, but originally from King Solomon, the lyrics, that is. The Talmud in Yevamot says, just as a man is commanded to say that which will be listened to, so he is commanded to withhold that which will not be accepted. And that's what this Mishnah is all about. So don't appease your friend while he's angry. So, the worst thing you could say to someone when they're extremely angry is just calm down, just calm down. Because that's your instinct what to say, but you're really invalidating how they're feeling. Let them get it out a little bit. They might be genuinely outraged, and validate it and say, I see you're upset. And, I'm talking about, the therapeutic model. And wait till they actually calm down a little bit on their own. Don't also console somebody while their dead is before them. That means someone's in the hospital, their loved one is in the bed, and they just died. And you're going to put your hand on their shoulder and say, you'll get over this. It's not the time to say that. You're going to move on. The person just died. Now, we have to take this with a grain of salt. Don't console them while their dead lies before them. I can't imagine it means don't console them at all. If you're there, and I've unfortunately been there myself in such situations, to put your arm on a shoulder to say, I'm so sorry for your loss, basic consolation certainly is in order, but consoling in the sense of trying to make it better, right? And that you might not even want to do in the Shiva house or a few days after the person has died. Doesn't usually work well to say, you'll get over it, you'll move on. But even if you do want it, if you're close enough with the person to say that, to try to make it better, certainly not while their dead lies before them. Don't try for consolation. The person has to grieve. Okay, don't question him at the time of his vow. This is hard for us to relate to, but in Mishnaic times, people used to make a neder, they used to make a vows all the time. So if they're trying to keep a diet, they'd say, I hereby vow to God that I will not eat fatty or sugary things. And then it becomes binding on you religiously. Or people would even make vows like the Talmud says, it's kind of funny. You're upset at your in-laws, your father-in-law, your mother-in-law, and you say, I hereby vow I'm not going to go to my father-in-law's house for the rest of the year. I'm not visiting him. That's probably not a good vow to take, but once you make it to God, it actually becomes binding. So you have to appear before a Beit Din, a panel of three rabbis, to annul your vow and say, I didn't really mean it. I want to get it released. And Jews took their vows so seriously that the holiest night of the year, Kol Nidre, means all the vows. Kol Nidre, V'chamare, we use all sorts of words for vows. But Jews would stand in terror before God on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year, and say, all those vows that I made in a moment of passion, please release me from them if I probably didn't keep them. And that's why the Talmud says it's better not to make vows. Anti-Semites would say that Kol Nidre, Jews are trying to get out of their commitments to other people. I vow to give you a loan of $100, and then comes Yom Kippur night, and God, please release me from that. That's not what it's about. Those vows remain binding. It means those religious vows that I was talking about, you make to God, you take upon yourself. We beg God to release them on Yom Kippur. We also convene a panel on before Rosh Hashanah. Three rabbis or three laymen or whoever's on the panel, a rabbi together with some laymen will sit down and formally release people of their vows. Okay, but the point is, at the moment that a person made the vow, I'm not going to visit my father-in-law for the rest of the year, don't say right away, oh, you should try to get out of that. Let's convene a panel right now. Let him sit with it and come to that conclusion on his own and let him sleep on it. And maybe the next day, call him and say, if you want to release that vow, let's convene a Beis Din, but not in the moment of his passion. And then finally, don't try to see someone in their hour of their disgrace. They're just publicly humiliated. You want to sit down and say, how are you feeling? They might need to be alone with that for a while. And here, the Talmud in Brachot has a beautiful proof text from the Torah itself, from God Himself, because after Adam and Eve sin, the first sin, the original sin, so to speak, they eat from the tree of knowledge, and they realize they're naked and they're humiliated, and they make for themselves aprons of fig leaves. They make like makeshift rudimentary underwear out of leaves. They cover themselves, and only then does God come to confront them about it. So it's a beautiful insight from the Talmud. He waits for them to cover their shame, literally, and only then does he visit and say, "What did you do?" But he gives them a moment to be with their shame, which is sort of a nice idea. We should be like God in that way, all right? Even when God was going to punish them, he was compassionate in that sense of delaying it a little bit. Okay, with that, we'll say the Malay. El Malay Rachamim Shochein Bamiromim Hamitzei Menucha Nechon Al Kanfei HaShechina B'Malos Kedoshim V'Torim Kazor Harakia Mazhirim Es Nishmos Kol HaZkaros Shel Halayla Shel Chuli Olamam Ba'avur Shemispalim Bar HaZkaras Nishmasam V'Gan Eden Tehim Menuchasam Lachein Bal Harachmim Yastireim B'Seser Kenefav Liolamim V'Yitzror B'Tzorachayim Es Nishmasam Adonai Hu Nachlasam Yanuchu B'Shalom Mishkvasam V'Nomar Amen. And in English, O God, full of mercy, who dwells on high, grant proper rest on the wings of the divine presence, in the lofty levels of the holy and pure, who shine like the glow of the firmament, for the souls of Frank Agron, Seymour Asher, Merrill Bernstein, Simon Bernstein, Dora Blackman, Anna Cohen, May Feld, Annette Greenberg, Rose London, Bertha Rogovian, Riva Spitkowski, and Vidya Schwartz, in whose memory we study and pray. May their resting place be in the Garden of Eden. Therefore, may the Master of Mercy shelter them in the shelter of His wings for eternity. May He bind their soul in the bond of life. Hashem is their heritage. May they rest in peace. And let us say Amen.